I just stripped out my wax from the day and put in some butter, and that got me thinking about, you know, the products that I use and how I use them, and like the differences in them. And so I used oil to strip out the wax, and then I used a little bit of heat just to make sure I got as much of the wax out as possible. And then tonight I put in Beard Octane Citrofella, and I like this butter because it has no wax in it, right? And so when I do a full strip and I try and pull out most of to all of the wax out of it in the evenings, and the evenings only, I never use butter in the daytime. For me, only because I'm only really using it on my mustache, and this offers me zero hold. This is purely hydration. I'm using this purely to rehydrate my mustache from having wax in it all day, right? And so this has in it mango butter, shea butter, coconut oil, sweet almond oil, rose hip oil, arrowroot powder, vitamin E oil, and then hints of freshly squeezed tangerine, lemons, and grapefruit. And so this is just an amazing scent, but no waxes, so purely hydration. If I don't fully pull out all the wax, then I'll either use a balm or a butter. So this is a whipped butter, and this is another butter, and I'll use this because this does have some wax in there, not enough to do any kind of hold, but it's not a whipped butter. And so if I don't pull out all the wax, I'll either use my Detroit Grooming butter, or I'll use a balm. And the thing with balms are, and I didn't know this until, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, and I just don't know who knows and who doesn't know. Typically when you look at ingredients, the higher things are up towards the front of the ingredient list, the more primary that is in the balm or in anything, right? And so when you look at, I'll use these two. So my Beard Octane Downshift and my Death Grip Night Owl Citrus, both balms. I'll read off the ingredients for the Beard Octane. So the first ingredient in the Beard Octane is beeswax, and then it's shea butter, then coconut oil, sweet almond oil, castor oil, vitamin E oil, and then hints of oatmeal, milk, and honey. So the first ingredient was beeswax. So that means that's the primary ingredient that they use, and then they're adding to it the other ingredients. And then when you look at the Night Owl, first ingredient is shea butter, and then it goes into organic coconut oil, organic castor oil, organic golden jojoba oil, organic beeswax. So then beeswax is there, and then organic bergamot oil. So beeswax is the second to last ingredient. So it's just saying that this has, you know, the beeswax in this is less primary than it is in this, which isn't a bad thing. It's just I use them for different things. So if I leave a lot of wax in, then I don't mind using a product that has more wax in it. And I love this scent in the evenings, and I don't always fully strip out the wax. Sometimes I just throw a little oil in there, kind of comb through it a little bit, and whatever's left is fine. Sometimes I heat it, sometimes I'll wash it, then put some stuff in there. But you just have to look, because everything's different. And you know, like Cal's Beard Balm, here's the ingredient list: shea butter, and then beeswax. So beeswax is the second ingredient in Cal's. I use, they're probably all the same. It's Utility Balm from Beard brand. I haven't opened this one yet, but the ingredient label came off my other one. And so this one has shea butter, mango seed butter, apricot kernel oil, jojoba seed oil, and then beeswax. So this one, beeswax, again, towards the end. So when you're looking at for more hydration, for me, I personally go with something with less beeswax, because beeswax is going to lock in hydration, right? Because you're putting in a wax, but it's not really going to allow more moisture to enter, right? So, wax kind of seals things off. So again, I have a bunch, but I use them differently for different scents, different times. And again, I never really use butters in the daytime. Those are strictly for night hydration. Balms I'll use at night, but not in conjunction with butter. If I use a balm, then I don't use a butter. If I use a butter, in return, I don't use a balm. Balms I'll use at night or in the daytime. Daytime only if I'm going for a natural styled handlebar with no wax. If I'm not putting wax in, like tomorrow, if I don't want to put wax in, I would get up and I would pick a balm that I feel has a higher wax content. So something like a cow's, the Beard brand, even though it's lower on the list, does seem a little thicker in viscosity. So I could use that. Downshift, for me, the Night Owl doesn't offer me any hold. Again, this is almost in line with the Detroit Grooming butter, right? It's very low on wax content, and so I feel like I get a great hydration out of this balm. So you kind of have to play with, don't just go with one brand because that's the brand that you like, or that's the brand, that was recommended to you. Everyone uses their beard and mustache products differently. So you have to find out first what you're trying to get out of that product. And two, how does it react in your facial hair, right? And so that's why I kind of have so many, because I use them at different times and I have to try them out to find out what I like, what I don't like, what reacts the way I want it to react for my mustache to be styled the way I want it for that day, or for the hydration that I want to get out of it for the night before. When I used to just leave wax in overnight, and then the next morning I would just kind of heat through it and kind of reuse the wax. And what I noticed was my mustache kind of was paying the price for it. It was getting very, very dry over time. It was getting, I wouldn't say brittle, but just very dry, not itchy. But like it just didn't feel like my head hair. It just wasn't. I wasn't getting the results that I wanted to, and I would just leave it in purely for the fact that I didn't want to put wax in again the next day, right? And so I'm getting away from that, and I'm making sure that I put oil in, strip out the wax, and put a balm or a butter in to ensure hydration and the health of my mustache. So if you guys have any questions, reach out, look at the products that are in your balms and butters. If you don't have a balm or a butter, I recommend you get something for the evenings, definitely, for hydration purposes. Let me know what you guys use. Let me know if you like something with a high wax content or a high butter or oil content. What works best in your guys' mustaches or beards? I'd love to know.